Hello. Oh, I'm just laughing because I don't know, just because I was I was like testing the microphone and I was saying, hello, 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 hello. And then I say hello, but this time with meaning. Ah, I really feel like taking a deep breath again, even. What a ride this life thing is. I am. Uh, oh, my nose is so itchy again. What am I here for? What are we here for? Why are we here? What is the point? What is the point of being? Do you ever ask yourself that? Is that something? Do you ponder? Do you wonder? What is the point of life? What is the meaning? I've actually I've worked out, or I haven't just worked out on my own. It's been a collaboration of journeying, discovering, finding other people, reading books, watching YouTube's little sections of consciousness in movies and in plays and everything. I've realized we leave each other clues, but often they're so cryptic. It's like, and I do understand actually for a while in our story that if you did say the wrong thing, you potentially were killed or jailed or hung, drawn, and quartered. Like, how horrible have we been in life? Some of the horrors in our reality, I can't even fathom how anyone could say, this is what we're going to do to another person or an animal or even what we do. Isn't it crazy? Could I just say, okay, fundamentals of life. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, which is like poison to us. We're clearing it out of our system, which is interesting because we are carbon based, but carbon dioxide is not good for us, so we breathe it out. Trees breathe in carbon dioxide. It's like they're oxygen and breathe out oxygen. Wow, this is like a partnership made in heaven. Yet, we chop down so many of our trees. If you look at what's happened on the planet with the forests, with the jungles, how in the name of money and progress, we've literally taken most of our oxygen creating jungles and forests and decimated them. That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. And how water, like we cannot survive without, well, two things, literally sun and water. Yet we pollute our waters so easily, again, in the name of profit. I want to go back to that equation. I don't know where my book is, but I did write it down. But it's an easy one to say, like a fraction, where the current equation is profit over people. And I feel like right now we are in a big shift of shifting that around. We're just flipping it around because we realize profit is pointless if people aren't here, if people aren't happy. And you know what? If I look at a lot of things in the world, it doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me happy that profit, money, which has no real meaning at all, I feel. It is a tool. It has been a tool. It's been a control tool, that's for sure. That has been right at the top of our little pyramids. And even the fact that we have this pyramid system where we have people up here who have such an abundance of wealth, and then we allow people down here. And I understand that's by design, because if we didn't have people down here, we wouldn't have people up there. But what about instead of a pyramid, and I do love pyramids, there is a lot of power in pyramids, why don't we go to a circle, like not with an up and a down, but just an around, and we're all just in the circle, and we're all just looking after each other, like everyone, without letting anyone slip through the cracks. I understand for some people who are quite comfy in life, that would be fearful. They would worry, especially ancestral wealth, legacy wealth, where people have held on to money for many, 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 many years and lifetimes and generations. There's a fear. But now this is something that's kind of forming in my mind, is kind of coming through. I'm not sure how to say it, but I have a habit of trying to say things anyway. Okay, so let's say, what if, I'm going to use what ifs because often in life there's this unsurety, there's doubt, there's, well, it could be that way, but what if it's not? What if there is reincarnation? What if we do come back again and again and again? So even if you in your life now are very comfortable, you may be a king, a queen, a prime minister, a president, but your next lifetime, you might come in on the other end of that spectrum. And actually, I think that's how it works, because karma, linked in with reincarnation, is about balance. So if you come in as a tirading head of some country, or you're a general in an army years ago that actually waged war on the people and went and raped and pillaged and did horrible things, to balance that out, in probably your next incarnation, you're going to have to come in on the other end so you understand what it feels like to be on the other perspective from that war-waging general or soldier, that you will then be the person and the victim on the other side. Okay, because I had this thought process. Well, I've had it many times. I have things come up and then they come down and then other things come in. It's just constant. Sometimes it's tiring, and sometimes it's beautiful. I'm so thankful. I would never not be open to this. It is sometimes hard to live a normal life, and I think a lot of people are realizing that now, because I think a lot of us are, there's a term that I've heard used, coming online. So I have already, my mind's jumping to junk DNA, which I'm going, why, if people too subscribe to the fact that man was made in God's image, which I actually think the translation was misconstrued, and it was man was made in God's imagination. But if we were made perfect in the image of God, why would there be junk DNA? Everything's perfect except, oh, sorry, I forgot to get that rubbish out. Holy guacamole. It's perfect except that little bit, that little big bit that's in there. It's actually junk. I don't know what I was thinking when I was creating man. I kind of had it absolutely perfect, and then I spilled my coffee on that bit of DNA, and now it's junk. No, that is crazy. Like, when you think about that, it's actually crazy that we were created with something that is pointless and useless and what has been deemed junk, but it's not. I have seen a lot of the science. Wait. Science. I can't even do that now. Sorry. I have seen a lot of the science now that is going, oh no, actually maybe we were wrong, maybe it's not junk. So that is coming up now in our reality, our world. And our world, our reality, it's not even as real as we have believed it to be. And that's a really important thing to just ponder on, to meditate on, to just have a quiet mind and just go, what the? Because when we actually realize that it's not as real, that loosens up the game somewhat. It becomes a bit loosey-goosey. And what I'm finding is it is mind over matter, which is not so much the everyday mind. This is the mind that thinks, that imagines, that daydreams, that creates worlds in the etherical. And as what I am finding, deriving from all the information that's been coming in from all avenues, that it is created in energy first. And that's why it's so important to have an active imagination and actually to spend the time to imagine and daydream. And daydream, what life would you be living given the understanding that if you actually spent the time sitting and imagining it, lying and imagining it. It doesn't matter. You could stand on your head and imagine it, but just spend the time imagining it and seeing it created. Because as we're creating it in our mind, it is creating in energy, in the etherical first. And I am like getting so freaking sure on this. But the problem is also there's something about linking so you've got the imagination. I have told this story before about the imagination builds the rocket, your thoughts and your words, and spending that time on building the rocket. But the rocket fuel is what comes from your heart, your emotions, your feelings. So your rocket, you can build it, build it, build it, build it. You can see it. And actually that is part of it, the consistency. And if you spend 5 minutes a day, 1 minute a day, oh, I stutter, a day. Sometimes I've noticed in my recordings, I do stutter. I didn't even know that before I started doing this. And then I'll cut out that little stutter. And I'm wondering, do I do that in, I was going to say real life when I'm talking with people, but I can't cut it out when I do that, can I? Oh, or can I? Because time is an illusion, maybe I can. I'm going to have to think on that one. But I feel like the consistency, momentum, the focus, like our focus is so important. We really need to be that magnifying glass. So I don't know if I've told that story. Shall I tell it? I'm going to tell it again anyway. It might be in another video, but repetition is key here. Patterns are key. They definitely help us on our code cracking quest of an adventure journey of life. So imagine you are a magnifying glass and you're out in the world and you're kind of waving around, looking at stuff everywhere. But then you realize as you pause and you line up with the sun, the light, the sunlight, which you could, in this little story analogy, equate as the universe, the source energy, the Godhead. So you line up with God, you line up with source, with the universe, the sun, and then, but you're still waving it around, bit here, bit there, and you kind of, as long as you're lined up, you can see you're lining up what you're pointed at. But when you actually hold that line in with source energy on one particular thing, you'll see that the light will get stronger and whatever you're actually lined up with will start simmering and burning, and then I mean, I don't want to catch things on fire, but this is an analogy story. So, what I'm saying is, if I need to spell it out, is when you line up with God, source, universal energy, and you have something that you want to do, and you hold that line with the support of the universe, it will combust and become in your reality. But often, as we are being trained to have very short attention spans, overly short with all the shorts on YouTube, and even the split screen stuff where there's two different things, how are you going to learn to focus when you're actually being trained to unfocus? So that is by design, unfortunately. There's always a bigger picture. There is the dark side of the force and the good side of the force, but now we are coming to a point of time that I'm understanding is the balancing of the dark and the light. And if I'm going back to, sorry, often I'm not looking at you. It's just I kind of find I have this point where I'm not looking at anything. So it might look like I'm focusing at something, but it's almost like I'm not looking at anything at all. It's interesting, and I'm still learning. This is me in training, in learning and evolving. So if I'm to get back to what I started talking about and just the karma loop, okay? So we have been in cycles trying to balance things out, but we haven't been learning the lessons until now. So we've been having, just for an example, the perpetrator has to balance out their actions in one lifetime, and they come back in as the victim. And then they don't learn the lesson in that, which I think is about strength and standing strong. But that is a really hard one because often these victims are children and they haven't learned yet. But maybe that's where in our society we need to come in as one big family and reaffirm boundaries and guidelines and what life is about from such an early age to everyone, because not everyone has access to information that helps us evolve. So this cycle just keeps going round, but there's something different at the moment. There is, I'm not really sure what it is. I am, but I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to translate it. I can feel the answer and grasp the answer, but I don't have the words to say it. But we are coming to a point where we are being given the opportunity to come to center and bring the light and dark together. Every time I talk about centering and bringing the balance, I always do this. And bringing the hands together, there's something in that. So we are at this point. It is a combination of energy, of divine timing, of the evolution that we're in, because we're always evolving. It's where we're at. And I think evolution is exponential as we go. And we have been hitting points of time like markers, and that is definitely noted. There are things in our reality that explain certain markers in time, and there are prophecies. Speaking of prophecies, and something came up in a podcast I was listening to earlier, was about the Hopi prophecy, and that's what we're in now also. Oh, it's so much sometimes. So what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I am here because I feel called. I'm here because I want to help. I'm here because nothing else matters but us realizing that everyone matters and that we are doing this all together and we are all the one energy. And how could we ever let anybody slip through the cracks? And now is the time. What am I saying? Now is the time to be content. Now is the time for us to choose to follow our fulfillment for everyone. This is not a selfish thing. This is us. This is us accepting every part of us, every one of us, because we're all part of the whole. So it's a very interesting thing as we fight and bicker and we segregate and we feel like there must be winners and losers, because we can only all win or all lose, to be honest. And I think it is the time for us all to win and all to be happy and all to live in peace, love, light, health, wealth, abundance, joy, happiness, harmony, fulfillment, contentment, and family. I feel like that was a true ramble this morning, and I do feel like I'm having a bombardment of information that I probably need to go stand on my patch of grass over there and kind of ask Mother Earth to help me clear some stuff and clarify some things and take what I don't need, give me what I do need, because that stuff all does work. There's certain things that you may be called to do in this time. It could be not eating certain foods. It could be getting up at a different time. It could be not being around certain people or being around other people, being by yourself, or you might just be called to go out in nature. I think whatever it is right now, as long as it's not hurting yourself or anyone else or any animals or the earth, then follow it. Because we are being called right now. We are being called into our divinity and into remembrance of who we really are, because we're not who we've thought ourselves to be. And it's time for that unveiling. That's interesting that I use that word, because previously, apparently, all this information was beyond the veil. But we are everywhere, so there's no veil hiding anything. Perhaps that was a term created by design also. So everything is there for us because we are part of everything. So there's nothing out of our reach, but we have to reach for it. We have to want to know it and want to change. And that change starts here and here. With our choice, we have to choose to change. And I don't know about you, but I am choosing right now. I am choosing to choose better for myself and all others. It's not just a self-centered thing, although being centered is very important and knowing thyself is very important. But in knowing that we are all connected, we are all part of the one energy. So we're like one big energy entity split off in like billions of parts, but we're still the same energy. And what I feel, you feel, and vice versa, and everyone does. Ooh, okay. Interesting. There's something else coming in, but it's along those lines, but I don't think I can go there right now. So interesting. Okay. I hope you don't mind if I do just blah. If you are listening, I'm hoping there's some seeds of thought that might help. And if anything, any seed planted and you follow and you have your own revelations, share them with people. Like we're meant to be helping each other right now along this path, less trodden, walked. Let's do that because nothing else does matter. I feel like we should just stop the world and go, okay, hang on a sec. I don't think we got it right. Can we just pause everything for a moment and just really make sure, firstly, shouldn't we just make sure everyone has like basic fundamental needs like water, food, nutritious food, and shelter, their own home to feel safe? And once we do that, then maybe we can start working out the countries, the money, how we keep some semblance of order, or do we need to? Are we mature enough now that we don't need to have such rigidness in our world? Interesting. On that note, I might get back to that. I'm going to vamoose and go about my day. I've got so much to do. Okay, how can I make this lighter? I'm going to make it easy because you have to be careful. Okay, I have a little segue. You have to be careful. We can make things worse for ourselves by making it overwhelming. It's like how you can turn the molehill into the mountain and then it just makes you feel sick. But if you kind of just break things down one at a time, you got this little mound, you go, I can do that. So I'm going to do that with my list of jobs. I hope you do too. And I hope you're being kind to yourself and all others. And I will pop back out and I'll be back. We'll probably back every day because I'm enjoying this, even just for it helping me to understand all the clues and the stuff that's going on in the world, and just to hear myself talk about things out loud rather than just writing them or just in my mind is very interesting. So this for me is like a process of discovery, of clarification, of clearing. I didn't know I was going to say that, but of clearing. That's interesting. And I'm very, very happy because I definitely, as I've said before, I really want to help others because I know what it feels like to flounder and not feel like I've got my foothold in life. I have been there and I have that contrast, and now I'm starting to feel my legs steady up. I'm getting my, what is it called? The my sea legs, my life legs, shall we call it? Okay, much love, and I will be back to Moz.